how Scrum certification may help you pivot. This is for Black women, either if you're in a toxic job or if you've been laid off or been pushed out of a job. We have been having conversations about ways that we as Black women can pivot because we know that we need options. So I've talked to you about the Black Liberation Summit, the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women. So today is the early bird registration deadline, okay? So again, the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women is the third annual summit that teaches us several things. One is how to replace our income, whether if you go into another job or creating your own business. Also, how to replace your benefits in terms of health insurance and retirement, as well as how to create multiple streams of income. So Marissa Price and I created the virtual summit, and we are toxic job survivors. So we really thought about what are the things that we would have liked or needed when we were pivoting out of a toxic job that would have helped us. And that really helped us in terms of thinking about the topics, the speakers that we were going to have. And so we have 28 outstanding Black women speakers who will be teaching you information about, again, how to replace your income, what to do about your benefits, and also multiple streams of income. Because when I was at a toxic job, those are the things, the income, the benefits, those are the things that kept me at a toxic job for a very long time. And then multiple streams of income, that was something, or that has been something I've learned that we all need to have multiple streams of income, because if that one job goes away, you don't want to be just out there because you only have one stream of income. Okay. So again, early bird registration for the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women ends today. Okay. So the information for the summit is going across the screen, and it's also in the description section of this video. So I'm excited to have Coach Vet here with us again today. And if you don't know what Scrum certification is, because I was like, I heard you guys talk about it before, I was like, what is that? So if you don't know what it is, then you need to stick around so you know what is Scrum certification and really think about, is this an option possibly for you in terms of pivoting to? So Coach Vet, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. First, Dr. Kamani, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on your show. And hello to your audience. Just a little bit about myself. I help career women find a different way to do what they've already done their whole life, right? I call myself the pivot queen. I will teach you how to pivot on a dime. And it
Love
just
that.
takes your skills, your simple skills that you've used in so many different areas, whether it's church, family, home. That's what I do and I help you with. And I certify women. What I do know for sure is that it's critical that we as Black women have certifications and certifications in different things, right? To help make us really essential to the marketplace. And honestly, like you said, Dr. Kamani, have an opportunity to do it for ourselves and
Mhm,
just another stream of income. So the
mhm.
certifications I teach help women find that lane, that this too can be your lane, right? Through these different certifications. So that's a little bit about me. So we'll get into more of that in a bit.
Awesome, awesome. So everybody, I put her information in the it's already in the description section, but it's also in the chat as well. Okay. So for people who've never heard of Scrum, what
Mhm.
is Scrum? Let's just talk about that first. So what
That's
is that?
That is a good question. I get that all the time. Okay, so the origin of the word scrum is really a lacrosse term. It just means a bunch of people huddled together. That's really all it is. And when it
Mhm,
comes down to it, all it is, a scrum master is
mhm.
someone that helps teams work better together. So
Okay.
basically, it's just a coach for teams to help remove bottlenecks, impediments, and to get the conversation going. I like to also look at them as a mediator. Have you ever been in a conversation? You're like, I just need a third party to help us
Mhm,
talk and to come
mhm.
together and maybe to pull in other people, other resources, maybe that I've never thought of, maybe help me with a think tank, help me organize it. That's a scrum master. So,
Okay,
in simple
okay.
terms, that's what a scrum master is, but they do it in and for organizations. And of course, you can always do it on your own, that other lane of income, like you said.
Okay.
Mhm.
And why are we hearing more about Scrum Masters? Because I've never heard of Scrum
Mm.
Master before. So why are we hearing more about? Scrum Masters?
One, because so Scrum has been around since the early 90s, right? It was designed by three men. They were up at a cabin and they was like, well, there's a better way to do this thing in technology. So it's been around for a very long time.
Mhm,
Now, it did get mainstream once again in the early 2000s, of course,
mhm,
with marketing, technology, and things like that.
mhm,
But why we're going to hear an uptick in it now,
mhm,
because Dr. Kamani, we are on the cusp of something real. You hear me? AI and technology is once again taking a whole different turn. If you're
mm.
old like me, I say I'm old,
Girl,
old
stop. No,
enough
no,
like
no. You
if you're
seasoned. You
older,
seasoned. We don't. We're
I'm
gonna see. We're not.
seasoned.
You
I'm
seasoned.
seasoned.
Yes. Uh-huh.
If you're seasoned like me, you remember when Google came out. When Google came out, everyone was scared of it. Like, what is this Google thing? How's this about to work? Well, that's how we are again with AI. We are here again with AI. So that means there's the other opportunities in technology, which means we're going to have to look at it in a way that we've never looked at it before and
Mhm,
become friends with it. So now
mhm,
there's a resurgence, right, of the need for scrum masters in teams, in a different aspects. And because AI is so prevalent, people are wanting the personal touch. So it's a great opportunity. It's a beautiful opportunity to be inside the agile scrum world.
oh, okay. And what does agile mean?
Oh
Because
my God.
you just dropped that in there. I
I
was like,
love it. I love it. So agile is a way of working, right? And what it means, because there used to be in the project management space, so like they're all a part. I'm glad you asked that.
mhm,
Scrum is a part of the project management family. They're first
mhm,
cousins. Scrum
mhm.
and project management are first cousins, and they're the first cousins that really hang out at the barbecue, and
Okay.
sometimes they feel like they can look alike. You ever had that cousin like, dang, y'all are really kin, like y'all real family. That's how Scrum and project management is, right? They could be
Okay.
their first cousins. They
Okay.
almost look alike
Okay.
unless you know them and their characteristics, you know they're a little bit different. But
Okay.
agile is like the family. That's the umbrella that everything is under. And that means that we don't wait to the end to talk about what we need to do, but we're flexible and we're adaptable along the way. So it's called
Mhm.
the agile methodology, right? That
Okay.
you work better together and you discuss it often. So that's what being agile, adaptable, flexible is all about. So
Okay.
it's part of the
So
agile framework.
so how was that different from the cousin?
Very different from the cousin, because the cousin used to wait till everything was done. All right. I like this analogy. So the cousin, you ever had that cousin that goes like they're late to the barbecue, and then once they get there, all the food is gone. But they thought that they were like gonna be just fine, and they realized everyone ate and it's gone. That's how project management was. You build this big project, massive project, and you didn't realize, wow, there's things we should have talked about along the way, or we should
Mm,
have built this a different way, or there's defects along the way that we never considered, because we have
mm,
this big massive thing and no one
mhm,
ever talked about it. No one
mm,
ever like went back to the customer and said, is this really what you want? Is this
mm,
working the way you designed it to?
mhm.
Well, the other first cousin, Scrum, goes in the kitchen like every so often, and they can see, it's not much food. I mean, the food is getting low. The mac
Uh-huh.
and cheese is about to run out. Let me save me a plate real quick. And that's what Scrum does. It saves you a plate real quick, so
Okay.
you're not left out after everyone's done cleaned it out. And you're like,
Okay.
oh, it's all gone. So yeah,
Okay.
that's how they're different.
Okay. So do people get certifications in both?
They do. So there was a time where people were like, don't get your PMP, never get your PMP. Getting your PMP is very hard, for one. It takes a very long time, for two. Scrum is just a couple of days, couple of hours, and you have it. And you really know the same principles. You really know the same content, the same foundation.
Mm,
You have the same information, because there's a lot of organizations that still use PMP. And is it valuable? Most definitely. I would say they're both valuable. It
mhm,
just depends on how long you're willing to invest and how much you're willing to invest in one or the other. I've never gotten my PMP, and I've been a project manager in several different organizations, but
mm.
I just didn't feel like investing that time and energy when really Scrum did the exact same thing and gave me the same type of money I wanted. So
So what I heard you say, and I want to make sure I'm correct. So
Uh-huh.
you were able to work as a project manager
Mhm.
with the Scrum certification?
Yes, you can. So, some organizations, like you'll see on their job description, are their
Mhm,
preferences or qualifications that
mhm,
they want you to have some type of methodology. So,
mm,
some say, a PMP or an agile methodology, right? They want you
okay.
to understand some type of project or product work, right? Like your Lean Six Sigma,
What is that?
so Lean Six Sigma is a way of working that makes everything lean and it
Okay,
makes it work really good. So you know
okay,
how to like take the fluff and the fat out of projects and make
mhm,
it lean and efficient. And
okay.
that's the thing. Lean Six
Is
Sigma.
that under Agile? Is that under that? Or is
It
that some
is.
sort
So they're part of the
okay,
same family. I would say they're more of like the second and third cousin.
got
But
it,
getting
okay,
into that, it's a whole different area. And I've studied it, and it's really good to know. That's a
mhm,
whole nother lane. Since we're talking about pivot, right? There's so
mhm,
many different lanes that you can go in just learning one thing. And that's for me,
mhm,
what Scrum did for me. It opened up a whole different world and options that I never knew was there just by
mm,
one certification. It was a Scrum Master certification for me that just like, oh, opened
hmm,
it all up.
okay.
Like,
Well, I want to ask you a follow-up question. Before that, I want to ask you that question I don't think I've asked you before. How did you even find out about Scrum certification?
oh my God. So I was at an organization and I was in what they call automation. So I was like in like a semblance of technology, but not technology. And
Mhm,
at the org, and I'm not going to call names. If I call names, you
mhm,
would know where it is. But I was at the organization. We had a lot of projects. Our technology was horrible. We always had tons of defects, tons of issues. And so they said, we're going to go to Scrum. We're going to go to an agile methodology. We were so scared because we had never heard of it. We didn't know what this meant. We didn't know if this was meaning, are we going to lose our job? Will we never ever work again? But
mm,
kind of find out, oh my gosh, Dr. Kamani, there's a thing called, and so once you learn Scrum and you really, really good at it, you can get your agile coaching certification. So some agile coaches came in the room. They're like demigods. They just moved to the room. They were so cool. They were unbothered. And mind you, this was an organization that was very heavy into like our way is the best way. No one can tell us what to do. Like we are the
mhm.
best. Like only our way. They came, they turned that whole organization upside down with coolness, smoothness, and knowledge. And I never forget, he looked at me, one of the agile coaches said, like, you would be a great agile coach. I said, who, me? He's like, yes. And so
Mm,
I was like, well, because I work very well with people and I love teams, I love
mhm,
bringing teams together. One of the roles in Scrum and in Agile was a Scrum Master. So I was like,
mm,
I like helping people. I like
mhm,
working. I like being nice to people. I'll be
mhm,
the Scrum Master. So look, that's how I like kind of fell into my lap, right? I'm okay with the ambiguity and the fluffy stuff and
mhm,
trying to find ways to make people like get along and just to help the whole product move in the right direction. And so
mhm,
that's how I got into Scrum. And then
mm.
it's been my love and my passion like ever since. So
So it was out of a problematic situation that
yes.
somebody kind of tapped you on the shoulder and was like, "You will be good at
You would
this."
be good. And that was the first time, Dr. Kamani, speaking of toxic jobs, that was the first time someone had tapped me on my shoulder, recognized my talent, and pointed me in the right direction. Every other time I've like got the runaround. I'm like, oh, here we
Mm,
go again. Oh, here we go again. But that
mhm,
person was not intimidated by me, was
mm.
they were okay with me learning, they were okay with me growing, and then they poured their knowledge into me without holding back. And
Guess
that's
what?
why
They were pivotal in changing the trajectory of your life.
they were, and I wish I could find them. I've tried very hard to find them over the years because I would just like to thank him. Like I don't even remember his name. I just would like to
Mm,
thank him for opening up my mindset and open
mhm,
up my thought and open up a new
mhm.
opportunity because it truly changed my life and
Yeah.
the life of my family forever.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Now you mentioned about AI and Scrum,
Oh
and you got
yes.
really excited when you were talking about it. So
Okay.
tell us what the excitement is about AI and
Oh,
Scrum.
Let me tell you, the thing about AI and Scrum is because now they're slowly marrying together, right? Where they're starting to become integrated completely because it's
Mhm,
going to help you work better and it's going to help you work faster. And as a Scrum Master, it's going to help you to uncover, diagnose what's going on your team, giving you
mhm,
ideas and ways to truly understand what's happening. Because a lot of times, in 90% of the cases, Scrum Masters don't have a tech background. Scrum Masters have no idea of coding, tech language, none of that stuff. Like that's just not the lane we fall into.
mm,
Do you learn it over time? Yeah, you learn it by just listening to the people. But I'm not a coder. You don't want me to touch your code. That will mess some things up with your code, right? So for AI and Scrum to be together, you start to learn the back end, right, of
mhm,
what the team needs. So you're
mhm,
not completely blind. And so it's
mhm,
going to help you ask the right questions. It's going to help you build a better and a stronger product, right?
mhm,
Because in the Scrum family on the team, you have the product owner and you have the developers and you have the Scrum masters, and everyone plays their part. But the blind side that Scrum Masters have already always had is they don't know the tech language, and it's hard to when help product owners understand what the developers need. Now AI bridges that gap. AI
mm,
bridges that gap for a lot of Scrum Masters, right? So
okay.
it's truly a benefit because you're faster, better, stronger.
Got it. And
Mhm.
are Scrum Masters seen more in the tech field?
I'm going to be honest. So yes, that's where they're predominantly going to be
Mm,
because that's where the building comes into play. But I will have to say, being a Scrum Master is not only for the tech field. You can use, and people are always asking me that. You can use Scrum in anything you do. You can
mhm,
use Scrum in just like a nonprofit where people are trying to work better together. They have a product or
mhm,
project they need to bring into fruition, bring to market. Get you a
mhm,
Scrum Master. They can help
mhm,
you uncover, they can help you diagnose your problem. They can bring the team together, help you find resources, help you stay on track so that you don't have to think of all that by yourself, right? And to your
mhm,
point, because project manager will use tools like Jira or Trello. And that's the same thing that a Scrum Master knows how to use. So they can help
mhm,
you use those same project management tools to help
mhm.
you become efficient. So
Okay.
you're going to see them primarily, yes, in tech. You don't have
Mhm,
to know tech, but it's good if, I
mhm,
mean, it's always good if you know tech.
mhm.
And then two, it's not only in tech, right? It's many other places you'll find Scrum Masters.
Okay. And
Mhm,
so when I think about, and a lot of the conversations that Marissa and I have, and we
mhm.
think about and we talk on our YouTube channels, it's about helping Black women recognize that we all have transferable skills.
Ooh,
So
yes, yes.
even though you might be working a particular job and you do certain things, there's so many transferable skills that you have, but many
Mhm.
times you don't even recognize that even though you're at this job, you could do something else somewhere else.
You could,
So
yeah.
can you talk about some of the transferable skills that Black women may already have that they can pivot to in terms of being a scrum master?
Oh, and I love that question. Thank you for that. Black women have tons of transferable skills, right? Because usually we're in those helping fields. We're in those jobs that make us connect people, right? We're normally just connectors automatically, right? That's a
Mhm,
transferable skill.
mhm,
That's team collaboration.
mhm,
That's like project alignment, right? That's how you bridge that gap to bring it over. So, for instance, if you've been a teacher before, well, you know how to collaborate, you know how to data analysis, right? You know how to plan for a project, you know time management, you know how to talk with senior leaders, you have presentation skills, you know how to do a daily stand up, right? Where you're basically doing a huddle. If you stand in the circle and you're in charge of like making sure all the teachers get together in the morning, that's a daily stand up, right?
mhm,
Or
mhm,
if you're the person that like you have that meeting at the end of the 2 weeks and you're over the chair, well, you know how to have a retrospective, right? So that's is really honestly, Dr. Kamani, is finding those different words that
mhm,
fit what you've always done, right?
Mhm.
And bringing that information together. So I will
Okay.
always tell people, don't take yourself out of the ball game, right?
Mhm.
Because you haven't even played just yet. So you have no
Right.
idea the possibilities.
Right, right, right. But the first step for even applying would be to get Scrum certification, right?
Yes. So I
Okay.
will always tell people, so there was a time where you didn't need this Scrum certification, but I always would tell women, get the Scrum certification first. Because the truth is, Dr. Kamani, when you're interviewing or if you're doing this for your business, you want
Mhm.
to know what you're talking about. You want to
Mhm.
have the lingo. You want to be able to articulate the
Mhm.
benefits, the ROI that someone's going to have.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
that's only going to come through the certification.
Okay.
Mhm.
Quick follow-up question before I ask my next question.
Mhm.
So, is the industry open to people who are new to getting their certification and maybe they don't have work experience,
Mhm.
but they're willing to learn? Maybe they have work experience in other industries,
Mhm.
but maybe not in Scrum.
I would say most definitely. So now I'm going to be very transparent. Now, will that be harder to get into your Fortune 500 companies? Yes. But
Mhm.
there's like multiple size. You have your large, your medium, your small organizations all over. So I would say start at a small organization and then work your way up to the big leagues if you want, right? Nonprofits are always looking for strong talents. And a lot of times nonprofits don't have the talent they need in order to grow. And you could be that talent that's just starting out. And then what you don't know, as always, get a coach for. If you don't know, get you an agile coach that could like, hey, this what you do,
Mm.
this. Get you an agile coach that will teach
Okay.
you on the side, right? And
Okay.
of course, YouTube can always be your best friend. So I would say, just because you never done it doesn't mean you can't do it. And
Okay.
are you willing to learn? Are you willing to go into places maybe you never have thought of before? And
Mhm.
are you coachable enough to be coached by some of the best?
Okay.
Mhm.
So before a Black woman might want to invest in certification, she might be wondering, is this a good fit for me, given my personality, given
Mhm.
my strengths, given
Mhm.
my career goals? What would you say in terms of what type of personality, what type of career
Mhm.
goals, what types of
Mhm.
strengths might be a good fit for Scrum?
I say if you're big on team collaboration, if you're okay with the unknown and a little bit of ambiguity, and
Mhm.
if you're able to be agile, that's the biggest thing, Dr. Kamani. Are you
Uh-huh.
able to be agile and flexible?
Okay.
Now, if
Okay.
you're very rigid and you're like, no, I can't,
Mm.
might not be for you because agile is all about change. Agile is
Mm.
all about that pivot. All agile is
Mhm.
all about that, like that quick muscle, right? That muscle that like I'm okay with being flexible. It's that
Mhm.
muscle. If you have the muscle of being okay, even
Mhm.
with things you don't know, if
Mhm.
you are okay sitting in the room and hearing languages, and when I'm saying languages, tech languages, right? Product languages that you're unfamiliar with and you can
Mhm.
still be okay, this is for you.
Mhm.
But if
Okay.
all that like, no, 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 it's not for you. It's not for you. And it's
Yeah,
okay.
and I'm glad you said that too. And also, I'm assuming like ongoing learning, right? Being
You
open to constantly learning and
yes.
kind of keeping up with things.
And that's the great thing about being a scrum master because it's all about continuous learning and continuous improvement. The the field, the agile space, the scrum space, it's always growing and it's always developing. And so
Mhm.
part of the things that you teach your team is about
Mhm.
continuous learning, continuous improvement. So if a scrum master doesn't want to learn, grow and improve, how can I ever expect my team to learn, grow and improve on things they don't know are things
Mhm.
they built for the very first time. And people are
Mhm.
like, I've never done it before. Well, we haven't done a lot of things before, but are we
Right.
okay with growing together and knowing
Mhm.
that we know just enough to get
Mhm.
started and we'll
Mm.
learn the rest along the way? That's the
Right.
Agile Manifesto. Don't make me preach tonight. Don't make
Okay,
me,
okay, okay. You
don't
can
make
round
me
up.
preach
You can round up. I love
Agile.
it. I love it. I love somebody who's passionate about what they do,
Yes,
right? And I
yes.
always tell people, like, when you pick a coach, you need to pick a coach who knows what they're talking about. Marissa and I did a video yesterday
Mm,
about how coaching helped us pivot. And I always
mm,
say, like, you need to pick a coach who you see like,
Mhm.
okay, I want to get to this place. You
Mhm.
need to pick a coach who can take you there, not
To
somebody who
yeah.
just has a gift of gab and just tells you stuff and they got,
Mhm.
no, you need to know that they know what they're talking and they're excited about it, right? They're
Yes,
not just, love bombing you about all this kind of stuff, right? Like
exactly,
the proof is in the
exactly.
pudding.
And
Yeah.
they've been there. And it's fun that you said that, Coach Dr. Kamani, because I have several different coaches for several different things. And I wish I
Mhm.
had learned that a long time ago, because I
Mhm.
probably would have stayed in the Army for like 38 years. I should have got a running coach. I had never like I think I thought about it, but I didn't think about it long enough. And no one ever said, just go get a running coach. Go to your local high school, hire the running coach to help you run. Oh, that would have like changed my whole life, right?
Wow.
Or getting a life coach, or getting, like I said, an agile coach or a career coach,
Mhm.
someone
Mhm.
that can like show you the way, like
Yeah.
you said, based on their knowledge and based on their love and passion for
Mhm.
what they do, right? So
Yeah.
that's important. Having a coach can really change your whole life. It really can.
Exactly, exactly, and something I said yesterday with Marissa is, in addition to that, use
Mm,
discernment when you're picking a coach,
yeah,
right?
most
So
definitely.
just do
Yeah.
your research and make sure, because I have paid a lot of money for some people, one person in particular, that it didn't turn out very well.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I
so
have
yeah,
to.
use some discernment because it's an investment.
Yeah,
Okay,
a huge investment.
huge,
He Dr. Kamani, like, big, big. Like,
like traumatized.
I'm
Okay.
like, "Oh my god, that
Like
was a
a whole other conversation. I was like, "Marissa, I think I wanna do, like, a whole video about this, like,
let
how
me
to use
join."
discernment about picking a coach."
Yes, and
And
it's
I might
hard
you might
because
be on that. You might be
yes,
on that
it's
panel.
some people are really good salespeople. They're like they could sell you, and then they can peg when you're emotional and you're
Yep.
emotionally driven, and they know how to like. I'm like, how did you know? Like, dang it! You wake up
Yes.
the next day, be like, oh, never mind,
Yes.
too late.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
yes,
did.
yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. But, yeah, we can talk about that
I'll
later.
be on the panel.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, are there multiple Scrum certifications?
There are, and oh
Okay.
my goodness, I'm so glad you asked me that, right? Because this probably goes into another question you're going to ask me later.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's multiple. So when I first started out, I took Scrum Alliance. I also took SAFE. There is the PSM, the Professional Scrum Master. Now PMI has one.
Wow, what's the difference?
There's not very much difference in those, right? They just okay. So let me say this:
Okay.
Scrum Alliance and SAFE are vastly different. Safe is what I call the big dog, like the big dog. I only now this is where like I draw the line. I don't teach women how to do like brain surgery. Like I don't ever do that, and
Mhm.
I don't tell women unless you're serious, 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 and already in the game. I don't recommend the safe because the safe Scrum Master certification. That's the big dog. When I tell you that thing is so heavy, like your Fortune 500 companies use that because they have multiple teams working on different projects at the exact
Mhm.
same time and they
Mhm.
need to move that train out strategically. I look at it like a military mission. Like I think I
Wow.
researched, I haven't found it, but the people would say know the military, they've worked with the military or something, right? And even the military uses SAFE. The
Mm.
military, like when they have contractors and things like that, they use the SAFE methodology because it's very rigid, very strategic. That thing's a boss. Like
Wow.
their manual is like 170 pages, 200 pages, whereas the Scrum Alliance is only like 17 and 19 little PDF, right? And it's more frilly, more fun. So they teach you
Mhm.
the methodologies, the theories
Mhm.
of, and then of course you have mine, right? Strategic leadership, design, and coaching. I've created, I've curated my own certification with my organization. So I don't know if you want me to dive into that. That might be your next
Absolutely,
question.
I do.
Okay,
Absolutely do.
let me
So
tell
what
you
what
why.
motivated you to create your own certification?
Because one, because that's my lane of business, right? And because I saw a need, Dr. Kamani, I have said in multiple, like you tell me something, I'm gonna go like the whole nine, and I'll set in multiple classes, multiple different certifications, and then I get the job on the first day. I'm like, oh crap, what do I do? I
Hmm.
know the ceremonies, huh? But how do I pull up Jira? I've never seen it, right? Except like in theory on someone else's screen. And then I'm like, oh my God, I've never actually practiced running an actual ceremony. I've never sat in a group and asked people I
What is
didn't
this?
know.
What do you mean it's run a ceremony?
Oh,
What's
okay.
that mean?
So a ceremony. So in Scrum, there's different ceremonies. You have your daily stand up, you have your sprint review, you have your retrospective. So they
Mhm.
call them ceremonies. And if you think about it, it's just like a race. So like you get in your blocks, you get set, and then you
Mhm.
hear the gun and you're off to the races.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's exactly how the cycle of Scrum goes and the cycle of work, right? You do
Okay.
work in increments, in 2 week
Mhm.
increments. You start and you stop. So you have like official start and stop,
Mhm.
because studies have proven that when you have goals and you have to actually have a start and a stop, that organizations and teams work better that way. So
Okay.
that's the way Scrum is designed.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's what I mean by ceremonies.
Got it.
And so I saw a need. I'm like, you're teaching the methodologies, you're teaching the theory, you're teaching the knowledge, but never the hands-on. And I
Mm.
didn't see any black, I had never had a black woman teach me. And I think I may have saw one or two for the option, but I'm like, where is it that we are teaching it, right? Like
Mm.
I'm like, well, where's my community? Where are my
Mm.
people, right? I think I've only worked with two or three black women scrum masters, and I've only
Mm.
had one black woman as a developer and maybe like three black men. No, no, two black men as a developer. I was like, why aren't we in this space? Like,
Mm. Why do
where
you think that is?
I,
Why are we not in this space?
because you know what I think, this is me personally, right?
Mhm.
That for years we as black people weren't in the tech space. I think for a lot of years we still to this day, most of us get scared of technology. Most of us
Mhm.
are not comfortable with technology. How
Mhm.
many brown and black kids do you say, well, I'm going to go be a developer? I'm
Mm.
going to go be a tech engineer.
Mm-mm.
I'm going to be a product owner. You never hear that, right, in our
Mm-mm.
space.
Mm-mm.
It's very rare that you hear even things in STEM. Like my
Mhm.
degrees are in aviation, and someone was so my kids know we do things that's off the books. Like we
Mhm.
go chart our own path. And
Mhm.
my son was telling someone, I want to be a drone pilot. And that, oh, you'll never do that. We don't do aviation. I'm like, did you
Huh?
tell him exactly? I said, did
Ugh.
you tell them that your mama, one, teaches aviation and that your mama's degrees are in aviation? So did you tell them you know what you're talking about when you're talking
Mm.
about aviation? We do that in this house. Like, and
Mhm.
so, but
Mhm.
honestly, how many homes are saying, go learn coding or, go learn how
Mhm.
to be an engineer, right?
Mhm.
Find like the other stories. I told my son that he's really lazy. And I said, that's not a
Mhm.
bad thing whatsoever. I said,
Mhm.
if you're lazy, it's okay, but
Mhm.
make that be your advantage. I said, because in the tech world, it's called a lazy developer. If you have a lazy developer, they find the easiest way to do something. Hence,
Mhm.
it's my point. That's why we have AI. That's why we have automation.
Mhm.
Someone was too lazy to run that same report every morning. So you just find a task to kick it off.
Okay.
That's lazy development. If you
Okay.
have a lazy developer, they're going to find the easiest way to do something, and they're going
Mhm.
to find a way to do it where we don't have to redo it later. So I said,
Mhm.
son, since you're lazy, right? Don't go out and get a construction business. You
Mhm.
go be a developer so you can sit behind the computer. You make your boss look good because you learn how to automate everything they got to do. And they pay
Mhm.
you $250,000 to sit there
Wow.
and do that and
Wow.
press a couple of buttons. So yeah,
Mhm.
lazy development. I recommend I
Did he
recommend
appreciate that reframe?
it. And
He
I
did.
can
Okay.
guarantee you my son's gonna be rich.
Okay.
But that's how stuff is created. It's off of something that someone else doesn't want to do. That's why we have electric lawnmowers, right? Because like you got tired of pulling that string, right?
Mhm.
That's why you have a lawn person.
Mhm.
I'm too lazy to do it. Whether it's laziness off of fatigue, other things, right? That's how you find your lane, and
Mhm.
that's why you're a scrum master because it's too much for a leader to have to do to bring the team together, make everybody feel good.
Mhm.
Plus, I don't have time to talk every day to the team, but I got
Mhm.
to stand in such as a Scrum Master, is good for me. And they can
Okay.
keep it together. Tell me about it. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So tell us about your certification program.
Yes. So my certification program is 3 days, 3 hours each day. And what we do, I tell you the behind the scenes of Scrum, and I tell you the history so you understand Scrum. Because I really want people, especially Black women, I teach men too. I want them to know the history of Scrum, appreciate the principles of Scrum, have the mindset of a Scrum master, right? You're working better together. Scrum masters should make the world a better place, truthfully,
Mhm.
because you're
Mhm.
bringing people together. You're removing the bottlenecks and impediments, and then we do the hands-on portion. So it's not just we're just sitting in the class talking, but I'm teaching you how to work the different tools. Because my
Mhm.
whole goal, Dr. Kamani, is when you leave my class and certification, you put on your resume because you've done it. You
Mhm.
worked with Jira, you work with Trello, you work with Miro, your work with Miro. So when you sit in those interviews, they say, "What project management tools have you used?" Jira. Jira is the number one tool that everyone uses. Do you know
Mm.
any else? Yes, Trello. That's the second one because that's the cousin to Jira under
Mm.
the Atlassian product, right? Well, do you know how do you feel about working remote teams? You've already worked with remote teams because you've been in my class and we're working in teams, right? Have you ever
Okay.
done a daily stand-up? Yes, I've done a daily stand-up because I made you practice. Like, so I'm giving you the tools so you can step out and say, yes, I've done it. I know how to do it. And so when you have your first day, you're not sitting behind the computer like I was, like, oh my God, what button do I press? Because I'm
Mm.
scared. Like, I never
Yeah.
forget, I called my friend, like, what button? Literally, I was like, what button do I press?
Oh
Like, I
my
don't
gosh.
like, so
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
mine is about the hands-on experience, the practical application, the world experience and knowledge. And I
Mhm.
give you the honest truth
Mhm.
behind the scenes and tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. One thing I love to do is the coaching after dark is where I coach
Nice.
and I tell you, like, after when it gets late, you're gonna get the real because I like to I want people to like know what they're getting into, and that
Mhm.
just because it's a great job does not mean it's a fairy tale. The
Mhm.
job is great. Even like I tell my students, I'm a professor as well. I tell
Mhm.
my students, I could teach you all this,
Mhm.
but the messy part of anything is the people business.
That's
The
true.
people business is a messy business.
That's
You have
true.
all the knowledge in the world. You got the best job in the world, but the people business, that's where it get real messy. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
ooh,
Yeah.
that's where it gets real messy.
Yeah. And the coaching, is it in person? Is it virtual?
It's all virtual, so I like to do everything from this seat right here. So
Okay.
and
Okay.
you know what, Dr. Kamani, I'm glad you said that because I will put this out here in the universe, right? One
Yes.
day when I move to Thailand, I want to have my coaching over in Thailand. So
Oh.
one day I will have coaching in Thailand. So we'll like be on a resort and like we'll
Ooh.
do coaching and life coaching and like mental health coaching all in Thailand. So yes, one day
Okay.
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen in Thailand and in
Okay.
Panama because I want to be have my residency in Panama. So yeah,
Okay. Well, we're gonna talk about that a little later about your moves and all this kind of stuff, right?
nice.
So once a woman, because there's 3 days, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So once she finishes the class, will she be ready to take the exam?
I don't do an exam. The reason I don't do an exam because
Uh-huh.
it's unnecessary. If you have for mine, right? For mine, if you already did the work, don't one. I don't even like tests, giving tests to my students. Like it drives me crazy. Like, but can you really actually perform the work?
Okay.
So if once you leave mine, and I recommend it, right? Like compare apples to oranges, learn from different people. I think knowledge is powerful. So even if you go to Scrum Alliance or if you go to SAFE, you'll be ready to go through their course as well. Because of course they have like the name recognition, and you'll be ready to take the exam. So I've had women that have left my course and went to Scrum Alliance, and they have said without a doubt that I prepared them. And they said and especially if you've never been in the agile Scrum space, you're going to be totally lost, frustrated, and confused. And the reason I wasn't was because I was familiar with it or had done it at my previous employer. So no,
Mhm.
I could prepare you for any exam you're going to take.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. So with your course,
Mhm.
they would be ready to then eventually take the Scrum certification.
With another
They
organization, yes, if they want to.
okay.
They
Um,
so I wanna clarify that you don't have to,
okay.
because some organizations prefer that you have, certifications from some particular organizations,
Oh,
but if you know what you're talking about, the knowledge is the knowledge, right? So,
okay.
but you can, yes, you would be ready to take it if you decided to.
Okay, so you can go straight and take the exam.
Mhm. Well, no, you would have to go through their 2-day course, sit through their course, and then take the exam.
What 2-day course?
So, like, if you want to do Scrum Alliance, or if you want to do SAFe, or if you want to do the PMI, things like that, or the PSM. So, different organizations have
Mhm.
different Scrum courses.
Got it.
Mhm.
So once a woman finishes your course, you'll have certification through your course, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay. So she's considered to be Scrum certified.
yes, yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
So she don't need to take another exam.
He does not need to
But if
take
she
another
wants to go
exam.
through these other places
She
where, let's say,
can.
the job might say you have to be certified through these companies, then
Yes.
she can go there. But if she's already had your training,
Mhm.
she's had a huge step up.
A huge step up with experience. That's the key.
Got it.
Certification with the experience, not
Got it.
just a certification.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm. That's
Okay.
the difference. That's the
Okay.
kicker right there.
Okay. And so for your clients that you've worked with, have they
Mhm.
shared about their experiences of just going straight from your course to the job compared to going from your course to these other courses first and then going to a job?
So yeah, the feedback that I get is that they understand it and they're ready for it. And so that even women that take it back to their jobs now, then they're better prepared to navigate that world, right? To really show up and let their bosses know they got this certification, they have
Mhm.
new skills. So they show up more prepared and ready for whatever
Mhm.
may come. And it puts them in a position of promotion. They
Mm.
already have a job, puts them in position for promotion. If
Okay.
they don't, it puts them in position to have options, right?
Okay.
To get ready for that next job. And you may ask me this, but let me know if I'm over speaking.
No, go on.
The biggest key to getting the certification and then acquiring the job is to get your resume straight. That's the big key. And so
Mhm.
it's a three-prong approach, right? Get
Mm.
the certification, get
Mhm.
your resume straight, and apply for the jobs. And if you do all three, you have the recipe for success. But if you
Mhm.
just get the certification, you like apply to two jobs, you may not have as much success. So
Mhm.
that's what I would recommend.
Okay. So for Black women who are watching now, and
Mhm.
let's say they've been pushed out of the job market,
Oh,
right? Or they've been laid off. Um, and I'm sure there's some financial concerns,
mm,
at this point.
mhm.
What would you say in relation to the cost difference between your program compared to these other programs that you mentioned?
So my course is very compatible in price. It can be compared to other certifications. So
Mhm.
it's not much more than I would say your average certification. And Dr. Kamani, before COVID, these certifications used to be $1,500. They used to be $1,500 just starting out. But mine, I stand next to anyone else in the business as far as
Mhm.
the cost
Mhm.
of my certification. So
You said
it's
before COVID is 1,500. What is it now?
so now you can get them for about three something to four something, depending on who you go through. So yeah,
Okay.
drastic. And they
Okay.
used to never be virtual. They only used to be in person. It was crazy.
Interesting,
It was
interesting. Okay,
crazy.
okay. And so I have another question.
Okay.
So what's the competition now like for these Scrum jobs?
The competition, unfortunately, is a lot stiffer than it used to be.
Mm,
Um, of course, like I would say 5 years ago, it wasn't as much competition because it wasn't as popular. So a couple of things have made the competition um, stiffer, I guess you could say.
mhm,
One, because a lot of, especially women, Black women, are out of jobs now.
mhm,
The
mhm,
economy has changed, and because
mhm,
right now we're going through a shift, right, from no AI to AI. So
Mhm.
everyone's kind of scrambling to see what that looks like and to get in at the ground level.
Mhm.
So the competition is stiff to get in, but once you're in, you're in.
Okay. Okay. Do they
Mhm.
typically have layoffs with Scrum?
I would say the tech space has layoffs, right? Have I been laid off before? Yes, I've been laid off from my Scrum job, but it was like layoffs with everybody else, right? I mean, they were
Mhm.
doing multiple layoffs. I've never
Mhm.
experienced it where it's just like the Scrum Masters only are laid off. Has that happened before? Yes.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, layoffs happen a lot more,
Yeah.
but Scrum will help you have that cushion because you're making that money to cushion yourself. So that's what
Got
I
it.
will say with the layoff. I was grateful that because I was making so much money, I had
Mhm.
some cushion to get me through that tough time.
Good, good, good. Okay. So, how would a Black woman register and when is your next class?
Ooh, that's a good question. So they would register on my website,
Mhm.
www dot vetjet.com, vettjet.com.
Mhm.
My next class is going to be April 24th through 26th in the evening. So at the end of April,
Mhm.
I do it over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then, of course, on Sunday, we have mimosas and we toast one another because, you put in the work, you put in the work, you put in the time. So that's going to be my next training. And so
Wow.
I do have other certifications that I say that accompany the Scrum Master certification, the mental health first aid, and the QPR as well. You can
Okay.
get 3 certifications in less than 10 days.
Okay. So, now tell us about the mental health certification and the other one that you mentioned too.
QPR. So mental health, that's my little koala right there. Mental health first aid. I believe everyone should have a mental health first aid certification because it helps you understand and recognize the signs and symptoms of mental health issues, challenges, and disorders.
Mhm.
What I didn't realize, Dr. Kamani, a lot of times in working with people, I was working with people that may have had a mental health challenge, issue, or disorder.
Mhm.
There was a time where I was unfamiliar and didn't recognize it. So I'm thinking these people are just like ornery, are just rude,
Mhm.
just mean. I'm like,
Mhm.
what I found is you're dealing with some mental health, right? And
Mhm.
so mental health first aid helps you understand that, helps you become sympathetic to that, helps you
Mhm.
help people work through that, right? So
Mhm.
you're not a physician, you're not a counselor, but you're like that middle person to help find people the resources and to get help until professional help arrives.
Mhm.
So, a mental health first aider is a support, a resource to the world, to counselors, to therapists
Mhm.
that helps people's knowledge grow. So now
Mhm.
I see the world in a whole different space and
Mhm.
place, understanding mental health. And it's reducing the stigma, Dr. Kamani, that's around mental health. Like, it's
Mhm.
okay to not be okay. It's
Right.
okay to have a bad day. That does not make you a bad person. You're
Mhm.
having a bad day. And how can I help you have a better
Mhm.
day, right? How can I give you hope until help arrives, right? And that's like
Mhm.
a whole nother lane. That certification, Dr. Kamani, has opened up a whole nother lane that I never knew was there. Like I never knew there was like resources in counseling and crisis counselors that can like help you, like talk through this stuff. Like there's a whole mental health world that women, that we as Black women really need to be a part of because we
Mhm.
are underrepresented in that space.
Mhm.
Just the conferences I've been to, I'm
Mhm.
like,
Where are we at?
where are we at? I can count 5 of y'all on one hand. It's like
Right.
2,000 people here,
Right.
and
Yeah.
why? Who's keynotes?
Right.
No worries. Hold on. Dr. Yvette will be right back. Hold on. Give me one more semester. I'll be there. Hold
Yeah.
on. Hold on.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
I'm coming, y'all. So, but that's the world, right? It's
Yeah.
helped me be a better mom because I understand my kids from a different perspective of
Mhm.
mental health, right? It's
Mhm.
helped me understand myself as a Black
Mhm.
woman that what
Mhm.
I face is real, like the
Mhm.
challenges that I face, even as a veteran, are real.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's one thing I recommend, and that's It's only 2 days, and that's through the mental health organization, a national certification. Then QPR is question, persuade, refer. Those people that are struggling to stay alive, those people that may be having thoughts of taking their own life. It helps you question, like ask the question to make sure they're okay, persuading someone to get help, and then refer them to the proper resources. And that only takes 2 hours. But you'll be surprised how the stigma around mental health and taking
Mhm.
your own life is there. And with
Mhm.
QPR and mental health first aid, we're removing the stigma and having the
Mhm.
conversation that brings people out of the darkness into
Mhm.
the light so that you can get
Mhm.
help, you can get hope, to
Mhm.
have a better life, right? And so I wish I had known these sooner,
Mhm.
as a practitioner of Scrum, because I think I would have seen people in a different way and to be able to help people and support people in
Mhm.
a different way. And I think back to certain instances of people that are probably struggling with mental health were struggling with thoughts of taking their own life. And had I
Mhm.
known then what I know now, I probably would have approached it from a more supportive frame of
Mhm.
mind, and a
Mhm.
thought process to help them
Mhm.
in a different way. So that's how all three of those like combine
Yeah.
together to make
Yeah.
one huge pivot, Dr. Kamani. Honestly,
Mhm.
it's one huge pivot because one can change your own life and one can take you to another. All three of them together can like just like create this like the circle of
Mhm.
manifestation and like seeing things in a whole different way that you never
Mhm.
thought possible.
And it's interesting too. I think it also shows that, we're dimensional people. So,
Hmm.
like, you love Scrum, yet you also love talking about mental health
I
too,
love
right?
talking
So
about
it's
mental
not
health.
like we can only do certain things or no, you got to stay in this lane. There's multiple things that we can do. And I'm curious for when you talked about mental health, first
Mhm.
aid, and the one about helping people in relation to helping people not take their own lives.
Mhm.
Who, what types of organizations do you provide this for?
That is a good question. So, I'm not sure if you or your audience has ever heard of 988.
Mhm,
988 is a national crisis helpline, and you can
mhm,
call it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and get someone there to
mhm,
talk to. Well,
mhm,
QPR Mental Health First Aid, they're trained in these systems, right? Or in
mhm,
the ways of thinking and ways of working to help you through your problems. I also tell people like there's a state level of honestly in your local community, you have call centers that take calls. Look, and
mhm,
you can look up crisis line in your particular, like on LinkedIn, right? Or you can look up crisis line in your city. So the QPR mental health first aid will help you become a crisis counselor without a degree in your city. And a lot of them are remote. And then
mhm.
Vibrant, which is the federal administrator to all of this, they hire Dr. Kamani. Them people hire Dr.
Hmm.
Kamani. Them people hire and they pay good money. You hear me? That good money from the house. A lot of their jobs are remote, right? So
Mhm.
you got their crisis counselor job, you got the supervisor job, you got the customer success, right? That you can pivot that scrum master into customer success, right? Or you can pivot that
Wait,
scrum.
so some black, I want black women to hear this.
Yes.
So are you saying to the black women watching this that this might be another possible option for them?
Girl, it's a real option.
Well, it's
Like
called Vibrant?
Vibrant. So Vibrant, Vibrant. So Vibrant is the national administrator to the crisis lines, right? So they get
Okay.
it from SAMHSA, which is like the federal government, and then they administer all the oversight to
Mhm,
all the organizations. So you have your local and your state, and then you have your federal. So you could
mhm.
work at the local, the state level, or you can work at the federal level. So it's just like another option. And trust me, I've seen some of us in there as
Oh,
assistant
that's
vice
great.
presidents and stuff like. So it was like really like when I tell you good paying jobs, right? And you
Okay.
don't have to. And that's how I want to say you don't have to be just a social worker or a counselor, but having mental health first aid, QPR, gives you that knowledge, gives you that certification that you need on your resume to be
Mhm.
able to speak to mental health, to be able to speak to helping someone stay alive, right? So you have that.
Let me put this in the chat. Let me write this in the chat because I want to make sure black women get this. So spell it again.
Vibrant. Let me look at my Vibrant. Vibrant.
Okay, vibrant.com?
Is it, I think vibrant.org. I want to
.org.
say vibrant.org. Let me see.
Because I want to provide
Yeah,
as
it's,
many
yeah,
resources as
it's
I can.
vibrant.org.
Vibrant.org. Okay.
Hmm. And they have, when I tell you, they be having jobs. So, um,
Okay.
so they have
Okay.
like peer support specialists, which the mental health first aid and QPR would feed right into.
Hmm.
Family peer advocate will feed into that. Your um, crisis shift supervisor, your case manager, a lot of options out there.
Mm. Okay.
And that's just one, right? That's just one of the many. And so I'm gonna tell you. Let me see. I want to say Didi Hirsch. I want to spell it right. Didi Hirsch. There we go. And I'll post this in the chat. Didi Hirsch is one of like the leaders in um, the the mental health space. They
Hmm.
have jobs all the time, like
Hmm.
mental health jobs, right?
Hmm.
Crisis line jobs, and I'll post that in the chat. But just
Okay.
learning about these organizations,
Thank you.
even like even your local organizations, like if you like live in the Houston area, Dallas area, California area, everywhere, like if you just type in crisis line or crisis line associate, crisis line counselor, even type it in LinkedIn, you'll see so many jobs that come up. So and some of them pay really really well, and then some of them may just be a holdover. I think it's protocol is another one. Protocol is, I want to say protocol is another one.
Hmm.
That's a crisis line. And I'm telling people this because it's always good to know what's out there.
Hmm.
Protocol services. Because you could do a lot of this. There we go. Oh yeah. You could do a lot of this from home.
Mm.
There we go. And here I'll give you this other one, Dr. Kamani.
Okay.
There you go. And that's protocol services. And they're always hiring like throughout the nation. Like seriously, like if you look under their careers page, and I want to say they pay pretty well. They pay pretty well. And
Okay.
it's really just talking with some, yeah, and it's like fully remote. Oh yes.
Wow. Well, you have
Yeah,
shared a lot of like
32,000 hours.
resources.
Yes. So
Amazing. Okay. So before you leave though, Vet, now
okay.
we gotta, because you put it out there. Since
Okay,
you
tell
put it out
me.
there
Get
about
up, get up
giving
here.
retreats in Thailand and all that.
Yes,
So
yes.
tell us about these plans that you have.
So
Tell
you
us
know
about
what?
this.
It's I mean, you know what, Dr. Kamani, I'm at a point in my life where I'm tired, right? Working on my doctorate, raising kids. And I say the second half of my life, I really want to take time to enjoy me. I want to take time to rest and recover. And I want to be in the land of smiles. I want to be in the land of smiles and the land of healing, right?
Mhm.
And so I would love to have it where I wake up every morning, do my leadership consulting on the beach in Thailand, the land of smile, and it's affordable, the land of smiles and the land of healing. So I'm
Mm.
still like figuring out that timeline because there's still some things I want to do in my career. There's still some things I want to do for my kiddos.
Mhm.
So yeah, one day I will be in Thailand, resting, recovering, healing, and just with vet jet in her business. So yeah.
Okay, okay. And
Yeah.
then you said Panama too.
So because okay, so not to get off track. So Panama has a pensionata visa, and because I'm a veteran, and I get like a lifetime benefit, I can use the pensionata, the retirement visa in Panama, and live off of that in Panama. So it's
Wow.
just I told you, Dr. Kamar, I'm about to pivot. You hear me?
A major pivot.
I'm about to pivot because you know
Okay.
why? Because when I got laid off, I never forget sitting in my backyard crying my eyeballs out, figuring like,
Mhm.
how can I hold on to all of this? And I wish I had known about Thailand back then, because Dr. Kamani, you and I would be talking from Thailand right now. So
Wow.
we'd be
Wow.
talking from Thailand, but I didn't know, like, take my little bit of money and like sell everything and just pack up and go to Thailand where I could live off my benefits and just recover there and then come
Mm.
back another time. And then I'll go to
Mm.
Panama. and live off,
Mhm.
my VA. So
Mm.
yes, options, options, options,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
start my businesses over there, right? Take these certifications because I'm glad, and I'll leave you with this. So the mental health first aid and the QPR
Mhm.
certification is a national certification through both of those organizations. But I got the certification and then I became a trainer. So now it's my own business. So because I own my certification,
Oh, that's
it's
beautiful.
my business. So, but it's just through their organization. So they provide all the materials, all the certifications, communications, and all I do is just represent them and teach it. I just so
So
teach it from anywhere.
so that, like, who would contact you? Like, with schools, with churches, like, who would
Yes.
contact you for these types of trainings?
So it will be schools and churches. It'll be like your local veterans organizations. It'll be independent people, right? Because it's one of the things I teach with my organization. But it's something that most definitely churches need because they have so many people. They have so many people that are suffering in silence. And then it's, of
Mhm,
course, those things that our kiddos need. Because if we can reduce this stigma early, we could change the world for the better.
mhm,
So we can get this into the school, then those kiddos can influence the adults, right? And then we
mhm,
have healthier people that aren't struggling, but the people that are coming into the light and living
mhm,
their best life, right? And then if we can even hospitals, right? A lot of times if you go to the hospital or if you go to the doctor, you fill out that paper, like, have you
mhm,
thought about suicide? And everyone
mhm,
checks no, because like if I check yes, or if I check
mhm,
I had thoughts, and they're gonna call somebody, haul me
mhm,
off, and I'll never
mhm,
see my family again, right?
mhm,
But a lot of them aren't trained, Dr. Kamani. They
mhm,
aren't trained to help and support people. They aren't trained into having the conversation. And that
mhm,
just because I have thoughts about suicide does not mean that I'm going to die. But it just means
mhm,
I'm probably in a dark place and I need
mhm,
somebody to talk to. I need someone
mhm,
that's going to be kind. I need someone
mhm,
that has resources and can get me
mhm,
the help I need. And
mhm.
so that's what these trainings will do. It reduces the stigma, and you're not going to look at me different because I'm having a struggle. But you
Right.
realize that over 300,000 people in America have these thoughts
Mhm,
every year. So you're not alone, right?
mhm, mhm,
So yes, I would say um, anywhere that has people gathered, right? Your police department, you know how many people are killed because they could be having a mental health challenge, but now
mhm,
you didn't kill them because you got scared. You didn't know
mhm.
what mental health challenges look like. Those
Right.
people who needed die, they needed help. They
Yeah.
needed someone that just was not even a counselor or a therapist, but just someone that understood mental health challenges and gave them
Mm,
space and backed up, kind of lowered their tone, talked to them
mhm,
softly, and gave them time and
mhm.
space until
Right.
the crisis unit arrived to help get them the help they need, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Wow, you have done so much, and you still do so much.
I
And
still got to come. I need to sit down. I
what
need
I
to
really
sit down.
appreciate that is that even though you're talking about and you're making plans to, um, pivot, out the country, what I appreciate is that you really want to make space for Black women
I
as
do.
you pivot as well, right? So you talked about virtually, but also you talked about in person as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I love to hear that. I love to hear
yeah.
that.
Thank
So, Pat, as we're winding down,
you.
what last words would you want to say to this community? Again, Black women who are either in toxic jobs
Mhm,
or Black
mhm,
women who've been pushed out the job market or been laid
mhm.
off. What would you want to say to them in relation to Scrum certification?
I would say in relation to Scrum certifications, give it a try.
Pivot.
Give it a try because it can change your whole life. I would say that you're more than enough, because sometimes the job can make you think that's all there is. So I
Mhm,
will tell you, being a part of a pivot, being a part of a layoff, it really impacted who I was as a person. And what I
mhm,
will say that you're more than enough. Try something new. Don't be afraid to try something new.
mhm,
And when you're pivoting, like, go outside of your norm. Like you just said, Dr. Kamani, I really, I'll say my 9 to 5. My 9 to 5, I'm a director for a crisis line. And here I told you about a million other things that I do, right? And I never had any idea that, this would be my lane. And now But I'm
Mhm.
so thankful that I didn't get myself caught up in just one thing, but
Yeah.
I was able to do multiple things. And I would say to Black women to love yourself no matter
Mhm.
what,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
matter what. And don't let the toxic people define who you are. Because Dr. Kamani, we've talked about this before. I had
Mhm.
a toxic job,
Mhm.
and that joker almost defined me.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you're not alone. That's what I learned, Dr. Kamani. Trust me. Y'all, you're not alone. Get in community. Go to the summit, right? Keep climbing because you're not alone.
Yeah.
But when I got in the room of other Black women, I'm like, this happened to y'all too? Oh, this happened to y'all? And it was
Yeah.
the same story. It was the same line verbatim. I'm like, do they know each other?
I
I don't
know,
know.
right?
No, they know each other. And so I realized that when I'm not alone, that I'm more than enough and I don't have to keep
Yes.
proving it. And I would say
Yeah.
these certifications, get them for yourself, get them for your own
Mhm.
learning, but you don't have to get it to prove yourself, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
getting my doctor now. I learned I just want to be Dr. Vet Jet just for me, not even to prove anything to anyone anymore. I could be
Mhm.
Dr. Vet Jet or I don't have to be, right? But
Mhm.
I'm still going to be okay. So that's what I would say to your
Yeah.
community and to the women that are suffering in a top. And you don't have to suffer. Oh, be very clear.
Ooh,
You ain't gotta suffer. That's
no.
a choice. You ain't gotta stay there. Now, am I telling you to quit? No. But I am telling you, get on the good foot, get you a good resume, some certifications, and start your walking. Like,
Yeah,
start walking.
excellent.
Like,
It may
mm-mm.
not be the time now, right? But
I
start getting
think
your
it
things
still
in
can
order.
be. I think it still can be, Dr. Kamani,
Well, I'm
because
saying get your stuff in order, right?
yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
leave
just
just
boom,
yet.
I'm out.
Yes, yeah, don't do
Yeah,
it overnight, right? Because
right.
then you will create more chaos for
Yeah.
yourself. It's funny that you said that because I was working with a mentor, like she's a VP at a company. I love her, right? And
Mhm.
like she's like just real cool and down to earth, and she'll say anything she wants. And like I'm like, how do you do that? So one day I asked her, I said, how are you able to say anything you want in these meetings? And she was sitting there chewing her gum. She's like, because I save my money. She's like, and I know they fire me today. It won't change my life.
Okay. I love it. I love it.
When I tell you, Dr. She was cold with it too. You hear me? The coolest chick ever. She said anything she wanted to and got it done. You hear me? And
Mhm.
got
Mhm.
fire me if you want to today. I still got money. Don't change my life.
Okay.
I was like,
Okay.
I
Okay.
want to be like you. I'm gonna say you're my
Yeah.
hero. I
Yeah.
love that
I think
lady.
Adelia calls it FU money. Is
You
it
have
Adelia
to.
or Halisi? I don't know. One of them or both of them call it
Yes.
FU money.
You gotta
Yeah.
have it. You got and keep your expenses low, right? Or like, some people say finding it, you don't have to keep it low unless you find something else to compensate for it, right? So just
Mhm.
you have a backup plan.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
anytime you can say what you need to say.
Exactly. And you know what, too, what I appreciate about your story, Vet, is that you have Scrum certification, right, which you can always utilize to
Mhm.
get another Scrum job or whatever,
Yep.
right? But you're able to show that I can love that, but I can pivot to other things.
Yep.
And then for other Black women, for us to recognize we can continue to pivot,
We can
right?
continue.
And so
We
and then I called you in for a moment because you said, oh, and I was like, we don't say oh on this channel.
can. Okay.
We seasoned, okay, we seasoned. So for seasoned Black women who are
Yes.
watching this, okay, let's talk to those Black women because what I don't
Mm.
want is for Black women 40 and up to
Mm.
feel like, too late for me. It's too late for me to
Mm.
get a certification. It's too late for
No.
me to, or 50 and up. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm.
don't want any Black woman to feel that way. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Most
About
definitely.
Black women kind of counting themselves out.
Most
Once they get to a
definitely.
certain age, feeling like, I'm too old to get
Okay.
another certification and to pivot.
I like that. So the reason I say I'm old just because I like that word, right? Just because everyone always says I'm young.
Yeah,
So, and I don't mean it in like a disrespectful way
I got you.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I don't mind telling my age. I'm 48, right? And I'm about to be 49 in January. And I tell my age because I know I don't look my age. I
Mhm.
know I look like a little 30-year-old kid or 20 something. I know I don't look my age. But I tell women when studies have shown that if you keep learning, makes you healthier as you get older and as you age. So if
Mm,
you're continuously working your brain and learning something, it helps reduce the signs of aging.
mm,
Also increases satisfaction, right? So that's what I will say. Two, another thing is, I know there's age ism, right? So there's that intersectionality of
mhm,
age, race, gender. I get
mhm,
it. But what
mhm,
I do know for sure is that if it's for you, no one can keep it from you. I prefer a lot of times to have different ages and different demographics because I
mhm,
still like diversity. I
mhm,
still want to have those people around me that are seasoned, because
mhm,
your knowledge can really give insight to the younger generation and vice versa.
mhm, mhm.
Two, I tell you, if they're telling you you're too old for something, go make your own. Like,
Ah,
truly go make your own. Like go make it for yourself, right? So the thing about this, get the Scrum certification,
mhm,
understand how that works, pivot that into being a consultant, a
mm,
strategic planning consultant. Every nonprofit has to have strategic planning. That's what the
mhm.
Scrum Master does, right?
Okay.
Every organization, they have to have some type of strategy session. Do that.
Mhm,
If you can't go in through the front door, go through the side door. Get with a consulting agency. You can. There's tons of them. Apex, K4s. What is that one? The big one. Oh, it's like they're green. I can't remember what they are. I can't. It's gonna come to me. Accenture. Oh, it's gonna come to me. It's another one. But go through a consulting agency, right?
mm.
Go through a consultant agency. So if you can't get in through the straight door, go through the side door.
Okay.
So I would say age will only stop you as much as you let it stop yourself. And most times, if you truly nail the interview, people are going to want you, right?
Mm,
I mean, and not everyone has that problem. We make
mm,
it a problem for ourselves because of what
mm,
we're told, what we're taught, that our age is our problem. And honestly,
mm,
it can be your greatest asset and crown. So
mm.
I would say if you want to go get it, and don't let anything stop you until you do.
Okay. And somebody said, is it Robert Half?
No,
Mm,
it starts with a D. Deloitte. There we go.
Lloyd.
Deloitte.
Okay.
Deloitte.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Robert Half is another one. Yes.
Okay, thank you
Yes,
for adding
Deloitte.
that. So yes, this is live. That was the question. Yes, this is live. And then, and maybe this person came in late. So
Mhm.
can you repeat the difference between how Scrum is different from being a project manager?
Most definitely. So a scrum master doesn't hold to all the rigidness of a project manager. Scrum master is a lot more agile. We keep things simple, so it's light on documentation, heavy on the customer, heavy on development and customer satisfaction. Whereas your project manager is really heavy into the timelines, they're heavy into the project plan, right? Our plan as Scrum Masters is more fluid and more flexible. And honestly, we cut out, like I say, a lot of the fat that project management has. Does project management still have its place? Yes, but Scrum can have its place at the same time. So they can coexist. So that's just a few differences to them.
Okay, okay,
Mhm.
that was
Good
helpful.
question.
That was
Good
helpful.
question.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, everyone. So we're going to start winding down. I want to say thank you again to my repeat guest,
Thank you. Thank you.
and she's
Thank
going to
you.
be back when we talk about coaching. Okay, when we talk
Yes.
about discernment coaching, she's going to be back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So again, I want to remind everybody that today is the last day for early bird registration for the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women, the
Mhm.
third annual Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women, which was co-founded by Marissa Price and I. So remember, the summit focuses on Black women, either if you're not in a toxic job or you've been pushed out or laid off from a job. It teaches Black women about how to replace income, whether it be going into another job or starting your own business. It also teaches about your options for benefit replacement, so health insurance and
Mhm.
retirement, as well as how do we get multiple streams of income. Okay. As a privacy consideration, no summit participants will be seen on camera. So if you come to the summit, you will not be on camera. you have the option of not putting your name, okay? So
Mhm.
you can attend anonymously. Only summit speakers. We have 28 Black women, phenomenal speakers. So only summit speakers will be on camera, okay? So registration information is going across the screen. It's also in the description section of this video, okay? So again, today is the last day of early registration. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. And also, let me just say, I appreciate also that Vet
Mhm.
gave us not only information about Scrum, but she also dropped some gems about other resources in terms of possible employment. So
Okay.
check out those other resources that she shared. Okay. So thank you so much, Beth.
You're
Okay,
welcome. Thank you,
everybody.
Dr. Marty.
Yes. So make sure that you check out Beth's YouTube channel as well. And that's in the description section. Can you tell everybody the name of your YouTube channel?
Coach Vet Jet. That is me, Coach Vet Jet.
Okay. Okay. So check out her YouTube channel. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is completely free. Also share this video with at least two other Black women. And I will see you later. Okay, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.